Out there, good morning, my friends. I want to start today with a truth that might sting a little, but it might also be the most freeing thing you'll ever hear. Nobody is coming to save you. Not the government, not your boss, not your family, not even your best friend. If you're waiting for someone to come along and fix your life, to give you that opportunity, or to finally make things right, you might be waiting a very long time now. Now that might sound harsh, but here's the good news, that you don't need anyone to save you, because the person you've been waiting for has been here all along. It's you today. I want to share 5 truths, 5 key points that will help you take back your power, build your life, and rise above your circumstances. Let's dive in. Take full ownership. Stop handing out the keys to your life. Let me start by asking you a simple question. If your life were a car, who's holding the keys right now? For too many people, the answer is someone else. Their boss has the keys. Their parents have the keys. Their past has the keys. Or maybe fear has the keys. They're sitting in the passenger seat, hoping someone else will drive them to their dreams. Out there. But here's the hard truth. Nobody is coming to drive you anywhere. If you want to reach your destination, you've got to take the wheel today. The power of ownership. Ownership means taking full responsibility for your life. Not partial, not conditional, but total. It means saying, I am where I am because of the choices I've made, and I can get where I want to go by making better ones. That mindset right there is freedom. Because when you blame others, you give away your power. But when you take ownership, you take your power back. Think about it. Every time you say, I can't because of them, you hand over a piece of your future. You're giving someone else control over your happiness, your progress, your growth. And no one, not a single person, will ever care about your dream as much as you do. The danger of blame, it's easy to blame. That's the trap. We blame our boss for not recognizing us, the economy for being tough, our parents for not supporting us, our past for being painful, and sometimes, even God for not making it easier. But let's be honest, blame feels good in the moment because it removes guilt, but it also removes control. Out there, every minute we spend pointing fingers is a minute we're not fixing the problem. As long as we're waiting for someone else to make it right, we're admitting that someone else has the power to make it wrong. You can't move forward with one foot on the accelerator and the other chained to resentment. A story of real ownership. Let me tell you a story about a young man named Marcus. Marcus grew up in a rough neighborhood. His father left when he was 9. By 16, he dropped out of school. By 21, he was working 2 jobs just to survive. One day, his car broke down on the way to work. He called his boss and said, I can't make it in. My car died. His boss said, Marcus, that's the 3rd time this month. You need to figure it out. Marcus got angry. It's not my fault, he said. But that night, something hit him. He realized he'd been saying, it's not my fault his whole life. But that phrase never fixed anything. So he made a decision that he couldn't control the neighborhood he grew up in. He couldn't control his father leaving. But he could control what he did next. He started saving a little from every paycheck. He studied for his GED after work. He learned a trade, and within 3 years, he started his own small repair business. One day, a friend asked, Marcus, how'd you turn your life around? He smiled and said, I stopped waiting for someone to save me, and I saved myself. That's ownership, the formula. Responsibility, power. Let's break this down logically. There are 2 kinds of power in life. External power, what others can do for you. Out there, internal power, what you can do for yourself. External power is temporary. It depends on circumstances. But internal power, that's permanent. It's built from the inside out. When you take responsibility, you activate that internal power. You stop saying, I hope things change, and start saying, I will change things. That one shift from hope to action transforms everything. Because when you own your choices, your emotions, and your results, you realize that the only thing standing between where you are and where you want to be is you. The no excuse principle, taking ownership, also means eliminating excuses. Now, I'm not saying life is fair. It's not. But fairness is irrelevant when it comes to progress. Some people start with more, some start with less, but everyone starts with something. And if you make the most of what you have, it grows. There's a man who lost both his legs in an accident. Doctors told him he'd never walk again. He didn't just walk, he ran marathons. Why? Because he stopped asking, why me? And started asking, what can I do with this? Excuses keep you comfortable. Ownership makes you unstoppable. The moment you decide that you are the solution, the world opens up. The emotional reality now, let's be real. Taking ownership isn't easy. It hurts. Out there, it means facing the parts of your life you'd rather hide. It means admitting that some of your pain was self-inflicted. And that takes courage. But that's where transformation begins. You can't heal what you won't acknowledge. You can't fix what you won't face. Out there. When you finally stop blaming others and look in the mirror, that's the moment you meet the person who can actually change your life. Ownership is not about guilt, it's about growth. It's not about beating yourself up, it's about building yourself up. When you take full ownership, every failure becomes feedback, every mistake becomes a lesson, and every obstacle becomes a stepping stone. The freedom of accountability, there's a strange kind of freedom that comes from saying, I am responsible for everything in my life. At first, it feels heavy, like you're carrying the whole world. But then, it feels light, because you're no longer waiting for anyone to carry it for you. You stop waiting for perfect conditions. You stop waiting for apologies that never come. You stop waiting for luck, and you start creating opportunity. That's when life begins to move in your favor. People start respecting you. Doors start opening, not because the world changed, but because you did. Out there, a challenge for you. So here's my challenge to you today. Think of one area of your life where you've been waiting for someone to fix it, waiting for a lucky break, waiting for the right time. Now ask yourself this question. What can I do today to move one step forward? Doesn't have to be big. Send that email. Make that call. Forgive that person. Start that plan. Whatever it is, do it today. Because the longer you wait for someone to save you, the deeper the hole you'll be in. But the moment you take ownership, you start climbing out, and you'll never look back. Closing thought, nobody is coming to save you. And that's a blessing. Because once you realize that you hold the keys, you can go anywhere you choose. Stop blaming, start building, stop waiting. Start moving. Stop giving away your power and take it back. Because the world doesn't change when someone saves you. It changes when you decide to save yourself. Build discipline, not motivation. Motivation feels good, doesn't it? It's like a spark. It hits you, it lights you up. And suddenly you feel unstoppable. But have you noticed something? That spark doesn't last. Out there, you can watch the most powerful motivational video, read an incredible quote, or listen to a great speaker. And the next morning, when the alarm rings at 5 a.m., that fire is nowhere to be found. You see, motivation can start your engine, but only discipline keeps you driving. The illusion of motivation is emotional. It depends on how you feel. And feelings change fast. One day, you wake up ready to conquer the world. The next, you just want to hit snooze and stay under the blanket. If you only move when you feel like it, your progress will always be inconsistent, fragile and fleeting. That's why so many people start strong and fade quickly. They join the gym on Monday, and by Friday, they're there taking a rest day. They start a new business, and after one bad week, they call it bad luck. They think they lost motivation, but what they really lacked was discipline. The foundation of discipline isn't flashy. It doesn't shout. It's quiet. It's steady. It's the part of you that does what needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. Think about it like this. Motivation is the spark plug. Discipline is the engine. You can't drive a car with a spark alone. You need something built to run day after day through rain or shine. Out there, discipline is doing your push-ups even when nobody's watching. It's saving money even when you want to spend it. Out there, it's saying no to short-term comfort so you can say yes to long-term success. The story of Sarah, The runner who hated running. Let me tell you about a woman named Sarah. Sarah wasn't an athlete. In fact, she hated running. But after a health scare, her doctor told her she needed to make some lifestyle changes or else. So she decided to run every morning. The first day was pure motivation. She watched a video, tied her shoes, and hit the track. But on day 3, the motivation was gone. It was cold. It was dark. Her legs hurt. Everything in her body screamed, stay in bed. And that's when she learned the secret. She whispered to herself, out there, I don't have to like it. I just have to do it. That phrase became her mantra. Day after day she ran. Some mornings she hated it. Out there, some mornings she loved it, but she never missed a day. 6 months later, she didn't just lose weight. She gained confidence, energy, and mental toughness. People asked, Sarah, how do you stay motivated? She smiled and said, I don't. I stay disciplined. Discipline outlasts emotion. Emotions are like weather. They come and go. But discipline is like climate. It defines your environment. Motivation says, I feel like working out. Discipline says, I work out, then I'll feel good. Motivation says, I'll start when I have time. Discipline says, I'll make time no matter what. Motivation asks, out there, what's the easiest way? Discipline asks, what's the right way? And when life hits you with failure, rejection, or exhaustion, motivation disappears, but discipline stands its ground. That's why winners aren't the most motivated people in the world. They're the most disciplined. The science of habit, there's real psychology behind this. Studies from Duke University show that over 40% of what we do every day is based on habits, not decisions. That means success isn't built on one-time choices, it's built on routines. When you make discipline a habit, it becomes automatic. You don't think about brushing your teeth, you just do it. You don't argue with yourself about taking a shower, you just do it. The goal is to make success habits just as automatic. How? Start small. Do something so simple, it's impossible to skip. Read 1 page, walk for 5 minutes. Write for 10, because the moment you prove to yourself that you can keep a promise, your brain starts trusting you again. And that trust builds momentum. The trap of, when I feel ready, let me tell you a secret, you will never feel ready. People wait for the perfect time, for the kids to grow up, for the money to come in, for life to settle down. But life never settles down. There will always be bills, stress, and distractions. If you wait for perfect conditions, you'll wait forever. Discipline says, I'll start where I am, with what I have. That's how every great success story begins, imperfectly. Do you think the first airplane flew perfectly? Do you think the first iPhone worked flawlessly? Do you think the first speech from any great leader was smooth? No, but they showed up again and again. And that's the key. Pain now, freedom later. Discipline is trading short-term pain for long-term peace. It's uncomfortable now, but it sets you free later. A lack of discipline might feel comfortable in the moment, but it builds regret. Skipping the gym feels good now until you can't climb the stairs without gasping. Procrastinating feels good now until the deadline crushes you. Spending recklessly feels good now until the bills start piling up. Pain is inevitable. The question is, which pain will you choose? The pain of discipline or the pain of regret? A lesson from the military. There's a saying in the military, we don't rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the level of our training. Discipline is that training. You can have the biggest goals in the world, but without discipline, they're just dreams on paper. That's why soldiers wake up at 5 a.m. Every day, not because they like it, but because they've trained their minds to obey, not negotiate. That's what discipline does. It silences the debate in your head. It replaces should I with I will. Discipline builds character. When you keep showing up, even when it's hard, that you build something much more valuable than results. You build character. Discipline teaches you consistency. It teaches you humility. It teaches you patience. It reminds you that real success isn't found in a moment of inspiration. It's found in thousands of small, unseen decisions that no one applauds. And those small decisions shape your destiny. Challenge the 30-day promise. Here's a challenge for you. For the next 30 days, choose one thing you will do every single day. No excuses, no breaks, no negotiations. It could be journaling, exercising, meditating, reading, anything that builds you, even if it's just 10 minutes, even if you're tired, even if nobody's watching. At the end of 30 days, you'll notice something powerful. You won't need motivation anymore because you'll have built something stronger, self-respect. Their closing thought: motivation may inspire you to start, but discipline ensures you finish. Motivation is a moment. Discipline is a lifestyle. So stop chasing the feelings, start building the habit. Do it tired, do it scared, do it uncertain. Because discipline doesn't care how you feel, it cares who you become. And once you become disciplined, you'll never have to rely on motivation again, because success will be part of who you are. Change your environment. It shapes you more than you think. Let's start with a truth most people underestimate. That you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your environment. You can have the biggest dreams, the best intentions, and all the motivation in the world, but if you're planted in the wrong soil, you'll never grow to your potential. Your environment, the people around you, the habits in your space, the voices you listen to, shapes who you become far more than you realize. Out there, if you're surrounded by negativity, it's only a matter of time before you start thinking negative thoughts. If you're surrounded by lazy people, you'll slowly start lowering your standards to fit in. You can't fly with eagles if you keep scratching with chickens. You are the average of your surroundings. There's an old saying that's been proven time and time again. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. That's not just a cute quote. It's a law of life. If you spend time with dreamers, you'll start dreaming bigger. If you spend time with complainers, you'll start complaining more. If you spend time with winners, you'll start thinking like one. Why? Because energy is contagious. Human beings are wired to mirror the people around them. It's called social conformity. We subconsciously adapt to fit our environment, our attitudes, habits, and even income levels often reflect our circle. So if you're not growing, don't just look at yourself, look around you. The story of the 2 brothers, let me tell you a story about 2 brothers, Jacob and Eli. They grew up in the same home with the same parents. Out there, the same challenges, the same struggles, but as adults, their lives couldn't have been more different. Jacob surrounded himself with people who were always hustling, reading, learning, and building. Eli, on the other hand, spent his nights hanging out with friends who complained about their jobs, blamed the system, and laughed at anyone who tried to do better. 10 years later, Jacob was running his own business. He wasn't rich, but he was fulfilled and confident. Eli was still talking about how one day he'd get out of that small town. Both brothers had the same potential. The difference wasn't talent, it was environment. The garden principle: think of your life like a garden. You could have the most expensive seeds in the world, but if you plant them in bad soil, they won't grow. The seed represents your potential. The soil represents your environment. Plant a seed in the desert, it dies. Plant it in fertile ground, and it flourishes. So here's the question what kind of soil are you planted in? Is your environment helping you grow or holding you back? Are you surrounded by people who celebrate your wins or people who secretly resent them? Because make no mistake, growth can't happen in toxic soil. The invisible influence of environment: sometimes your environment doesn't drag you down with loud negativity. It does it quietly, through comfort. Comfort is the silent killer of progress. You stay in a job you hate because everyone else is just surviving. You stop aiming higher because nobody around you believes it's possible. You settle for average because that's what everyone else is doing. But let me tell you something. The world's greatest achievers weren't the smartest or the luckiest. They were the ones who refused to stay in an environment that limited them. They left circles that kept them small. They found mentors who challenged them. They moved toward people and places that forced them to grow. You can't become your best self in an environment that rewards mediocrity. Life proof. There, the Harvard study, a Harvard Business Review study, once found that when one person in a group becomes obese, their close friends are 57% more likely to become obese too. Why? Because behavior spreads. If your friends skip the gym, you're more likely to do the same. If your coworkers complain every day, you start to echo their frustration. The same rule applies to success, fitness, mindset, everything. Out there, surround yourself with people who stretch you, and you'll start stretching yourself. Surround yourself with people who make excuses, and soon you'll have your own collection of them. Changing your environment isn't always about leaving people now. Let's get real. Sometimes you can't immediately leave your environment. Maybe it's family, maybe it's coworkers, maybe it's a small town. That's okay. Changing your environment doesn't always mean leaving, it means leaving. If you can't find positive influence, become it. Start being the voice of encouragement. Be the person who raises the energy instead of absorbing the negativity. And while you do that, start creating a micro environment of growth, even inside a bigger one that doesn't support you. How? Listen to uplifting podcasts on your commute. Read books that expand your mind. Follow people online who challenge you to grow, not people who waste your time. Keep your space clean and inspiring, because cluttered space equals cluttered mind. Even small changes in your environment can produce massive results in your mindset. A personal example, the power of rooms. There's a saying, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Years ago, I met a young entrepreneur named Luis. He was ambitious but stuck. Every time he shared an idea with his friends, they'd laugh and say, man, that'll never work. One day, Luis attended a local business networking event. He met people who were building things, taking risks, talking about growth. Suddenly, out there, his ideas didn't sound crazy. They sounded possible. Within a year, his income doubled. Within 2 years, he was mentoring others. When I asked him what changed, he said, I started spending time with people who made me feel uncomfortable in the best way possible. That's what a strong environment does. It stretches you. Protect your energy like it's gold. Your environment isn't just physical, it's emotional and digital too. Every conversation you have, every video you watch, every post you read, they all feed your mental diet. If you constantly consume gossip, fear, or negativity, you'll starve your confidence and poison your ambition. Protect your energy like it's gold, because it is. Out there, you don't owe everyone access to your mind or your mood. Some people should only get limited minutes in your life, not lifetime memberships. Set boundaries. Say no when you need to. And remember, peace is also productivity. Challenge, audit your environment. Here's your challenge for this week. Do an environment audit. Write down the 5 people you spend the most time with. Then ask yourself, do they lift me up or pull me down? Do they inspire me or drain me? Do they challenge me to grow or make me comfortable staying small? If the answer isn't growth, it's time to make a change. That might mean limiting some relationships, seeking new mentors, joining communities that align with your goals, or simply curating what you allow into your mental space, because your environment will either fuel your fire or extinguish it. Closing thought, your dreams are like seeds. They can only grow if you plant them in the right soil out there. So stop blaming yourself for not growing in a place that doesn't feed you. Stop expecting abundance from barren ground. Surround yourself with energy that pushes you higher. Seek out people who believe in your potential and challenge you to reach it. And if you can't find that environment, build it. Because the truth is simple, you become what surrounds you. So choose carefully because the life you live tomorrow will reflect the environment you cultivate today. Turn pain into purpose. Let's talk about something we all experience but rarely understand. Pain. Pain is the great equalizer. It doesn't care who you are, how much money you have, or what your title is. It finds everyone. Physical pain, emotional pain, financial pain, loss, heartbreak, betrayal, disappointment, you name it. We've all felt it. But here's the secret that separates the strong from the broken. Pain, when used right, becomes purpose. The same fire that burns wood into ashes can also forge steel. The difference is in how you handle the heat. Their pain is not the enemy. Most people spend their lives trying to avoid pain, running from it, numbing it, pretending it doesn't exist. But pain isn't your enemy, it's your teacher. Pain is a signal that something needs to change. It's life's way of saying, you can't stay here. Think about it when your hand touches something hot. Pain forces you to move. If you never felt that pain, you'd stay stuck and get burned. Emotional pain works the same way. It wakes you up. It pushes you. It reminds you that you're alive. Pain doesn't show up to destroy you. It shows up to develop you. The story of a broken athlete. Let me tell you a story about a man named Eric. Eric was a high school football star, strong, fast, and full of dreams. He was the kid everyone believed would go pro. But during a playoff game in his senior year, everything changed. One bad tackle, and his knee shattered. Doctors told him he'd never play again. He fell into depression. His identity, his pride, his dream, all gone overnight. For 2 years, he was bitter. He blamed life, blamed God, blamed everyone. Then one day, his old coach visited him and said, Eric, maybe football wasn't your purpose. Maybe it was just your platform. That one sentence hit him like lightning. Eric decided to channel his pain. He started volunteering at a youth center, teaching kids discipline and teamwork. He became a mentor to dozens of young boys, many of them from broken homes. And 5 years later, one of those kids won a college scholarship. He hugged Eric and said, you changed my life. That's when Eric realized something powerful. His injury ended a career, but started a calling. Pain redirected him toward his purpose. The turning point, when life breaks you, you have two choices. You can let it define you, or you can let it refine you. Pain will shape you either way. The question is whether you let it shape you for better or for worse. Some of the world's greatest achievements were born from pain. Oprah was abused and told she'd never succeed. Now she inspires millions. J.K. Rowling was a single mother living on welfare. Now her stories have shaped generations. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison and came out preaching forgiveness instead of revenge. Pain gave them perspective. It gave them purpose. It gave them power. Because when you learn to turn your wounds into wisdom, your scars stop being signs of weakness. They become stories of strength. The hidden gift inside pain, let's be honest, pain feels cruel while you're in it. It's messy. It's confusing. It doesn't make sense. But pain has a hidden gift. It strips away what's not important. It reveals what really matters. When you lose something, a job, a person, a dream, you discover who you are without it, and that's powerful. Pain removes the illusions we build around comfort. It forces us to grow, to adapt, to dig deeper than we thought possible. You can't learn compassion from comfort. You can't learn strength without struggle. You can learn faith until everything else fails. Pain doesn't take from you, it trains you. A true story. The butterfly struggle. There's an old story about a man who found a butterfly struggling to break free from its cocoon. Feeling sorry for it, he gently cut the cocoon open to help the butterfly escape. But when the butterfly came out, its wings were weak and shriveled. It couldn't fly. What the man didn't know was that the struggle, the pushing, the pressure, was what forced blood into the butterfly's wings, giving it strength to fly. By removing the struggle, he removed the strength. That's what pain does for us. It gives us wings. It's uncomfortable, yes, out there, but it's also necessary for growth. Without pressure, there is no progress. Pain is a platform. Here's a truth most people don't want to admit. The people who help others the most are the ones who've suffered the most. Every counselor, every mentor, every leader who truly understands others, they've all walked through something hard. Pain gives you empathy. It teaches you how to relate. Not just to speak. It helps you say, I've been there too. Your greatest ministry often comes from your deepest misery. Out there. That's why you should never hide your scars. They might be the light someone else needs to find their way. How to transform pain into purpose. So how do you do it? How do you take your pain and make it mean something? Here's a simple, powerful process. Acknowledge it. Stop pretending you're fine. You can't heal what you won't face. Learn from it. Ask. What is this teaching me? Every pain carries a lesson. Use it, channel it into something that helps others or strengthens your future. Share it. Your story could be someone's survival guide. Let it refine you. Don't let it make you bitter. Let it make you better. Out there, pain only becomes purpose when you stop fighting it and start using it. The power of perspective. There's a quote that says, what you think is happening to you might actually be happening for you. That's perspective. When you look back on your life, you realize that your worst moments often led to your best outcomes. The heartbreak that taught you self-worth. The failure that taught you resilience. The rejection that redirected you to the right path. Pain gives you perspective that comfort never could. It breaks you open so something greater can come through. Challenge. There, find the purpose behind the pain. Take a moment and think of one painful experience you've been through. Something that still stings. Now, there, instead of asking, why did this happen to me? Ask, what can I do because this happened to me? That question turns pain into power. Maybe your loss can inspire you to help others heal. Maybe your failure can teach someone how to start again. There. Maybe your struggle can show someone that hope is still possible. Pain has meaning, but you have to choose to find it. Closing thought. Life will hurt you. That's inevitable. But whether that hurt becomes your prison or your platform, that's up to you. There. You can curse the pain or you can use it to create something beautiful. You can let it break you or you can let it build you. Because in the end, there, your scars aren't signs that you've been defeated. They're proof that you've survived. They're reminders that you've endured, adapted, and overcome. Out there. And if you can turn your pain into purpose, there's no wound deep enough, no failure great enough, and no heartbreak strong enough to stop you from rising again. So don't run from your pain. Redeem it. Use it. Transform it. Because when you do, there, your pain stops being your enemy and becomes your greatest power. Start now. The perfect time will never come. Let's get honest for a moment. There, you've got dreams, big ones. You've got ideas, goals, visions, things that keep you awake at night. But if we're being real, how many times have you said something like this? I'll start when things calm down. I'll begin when I have more money. I'll go for it when I feel ready. Sound familiar? Here's the truth that nobody wants to admit. You'll never feel perfectly ready. The stars will never line up. The timing will never be flawless. And if you keep waiting for someday, you'll look up one day and realize that someday never came. There, the illusion of the perfect time. The perfect time is a lie your fear tells you to keep you comfortable. It's your brain's way of saying, out there, let's stay safe. But safety doesn't build dreams, it builds regret. Every great accomplishment started in an imperfect moment. When you study the stories of successful people, you'll notice one common thread. They started before they felt ready. There, Steve Jobs started Apple in his parents' garage. Sarah Blakely started Spanx with $500 in savings and zero fashion experience. There, Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination. If they had waited for the perfect time, we'd never know their names. You don't need the perfect setup. You need a start. A story about a painter who never painted. There was once a man named Jonathan. Out there, he dreamed of being a painter. He'd tell everyone, I'm going to paint when I get my own studio. I just need better brushes, better lighting, and a little more time. Oh, years passed. He got married. He got busy. Life happened. He kept waiting for the right moment. When retirement finally came, he bought the brushes, the paints, and even built that studio. But his hands had grown weak, his vision blurry. He painted a few strokes and realized too late that the perfect time had passed him by. He didn't lack talent, he lacked urgency. Out there, that's the tragedy of waiting for perfection. You lose your momentum, you lose your youth, you lose your chance. There, action creates clarity. Most people think they need clarity before they can act. But that's backward. Action creates clarity. You don't learn to swim by studying the water. You learn by getting in, by splashing, sinking a little, then figuring out how to stay afloat. You can't think your way into success. You've got to move your way into it. When you take action, even small imperfect steps, you discover what works and what doesn't. You adjust, you improve, you grow. Waiting to be ready is like waiting for the wind to stop before you set sail. You'll be stuck at the shore forever. The story of the two farmers, there's an old story about two farmers. Both of them prayed for rain. The first one prayed and then waited. The second one prayed and then plowed his fields, planted the seeds, and got everything ready. When the rain finally came, out there, guess who was prepared to receive it? The second farmer didn't know when the rain would come, but he believed it would. So he acted in faith. There, that's the difference between people who dream and people who do. Dreamers wait for signs. Doers create them. The cost of waiting. Let's talk about the real cost of waiting. You might think waiting keeps you safe, but it's actually costing you everything. There, when you wait to start your business, your passion grows cold. When you wait to start working out, your energy declines. When you wait to have that hard conversation, resentment builds. Waiting doesn't protect you, it paralyzes you. Every minute you delay, doubt gets louder. There, every month you procrastinate, momentum dies a little more. And the truth is, the pain of discipline weighs ounces, but the pain of regret weighs tons. There, you can recover from failure, but you can't recover from never trying. Progress over perfection. People often say, I don't want to start until I can do it right. But perfection is the enemy of progress. Think about a baby learning to walk. They stumble, fall, cry, but they keep going. If a baby waited until they had perfect balance to take that first step, they'd never walk at all. There, the same principle applies to your dreams. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to begin, because once you start, momentum builds. And momentum is stronger than motivation, stronger than fear, stronger than excuses. Small starts, big impact. Every mountain is climbed one step at a time. Every book begins with one sentence. Every successful person started small, but they started. Don't underestimate the power of a small beginning. There, one push-up can become a fitness routine. One cold call can lead to a business deal. One video can start a movement. You don't need to see the whole staircase. Just take the first step. Momentum favors the mover. Out there. The myth of readiness, let me tell you something that might shock you. Even the most successful people still feel scared when they start something new. Out there. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision to act despite it. If you're waiting to feel confident before you start, you'll never start. Out there, confidence doesn't come before action, it comes after. You don't become confident because you know you can do it. There, you become confident because you did it, failed, learned, and did it again. The moment you take the first step, fear loses its power. A powerful, real life example, the YouTuber who started with nothing. Do you know who Jimmy Donaldson is? You might know him as Mr. Beast. One of the biggest YouTubers on earth. But here's the thing, his first videos were terrible. He recorded them in his bedroom with no make, no audience, and no plan. He wasn't ready, but he started anyway. He studied what worked, improved little by little, and stayed consistent. Today, there, his videos reach hundreds of millions of people, all because he started when he had nothing except a dream and the courage to begin. Start scared. Start small. Just start. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to start where you are with what you have right now. There, the first step is always the hardest, but it's also the most important. You don't need perfect timing. You need commitment. You don't need certainty. You need courage. Because the truth is, the perfect time you're waiting for is just an excuse dressed up in logic. The real time to start is, and always will be, now. A challenge for you. Think of that one dream you've been delaying. That one goal that's been sitting on your heart for months, maybe years. What if you started today? Not next week, not when you're ready. Today, make the call. Write the first page, record the first video, launch the website, sign up for the class. You don't need to see the whole path, just light the first step, because the longer you wait, the further you drift. And the longer you drift, the harder it becomes to start again. Closing thought, here's what I want you to remember. The world doesn't reward intentions. It rewards action. Their dreams don't come true because you wish for them. They come true because you work for them. So don't wait for the perfect time. It doesn't exist. Start now. Start scared. Start imperfect. Start while you still have the fire in your heart. Because one day, you'll look back and realize that starting was the most powerful decision you ever made. You'll thank yourself for not waiting. So, my friend, the clock is ticking. The world is waiting. The time is now. Start. Would you like me to now combine all 5 keynotes? Take ownership, build discipline, change your environment. So let me say it again. Nobody is coming to save you. And that's the best news you'll ever hear. Because once you stop waiting for someone else to change your life, you'll realize you have everything it takes to change it yourself. Take ownership, build discipline, choose your environment, turn pain into purpose. Start now. Your future is calling, and this time the hero isn't coming. The hero is you. Turn pain into purpose. Start now into a single, continuous, stage-ready motivational speech script, complete with intro and closing. It would read like a seamless talk you could deliver or record.